She accidentally sent me a text meant for her sister, just pretending to be pregnant to get him to propose. Classic move. I screenshotted and sent it back with classic breakup. She spent 3 hours calling me crying it was a joke. I, 29M, never thought a single text message could destroy everything I believed about the woman I was planning to marry. Last Tuesday started like any other day. I was reviewing quarterly reports at my desk when my phone buzzed with a message from her. We'd been together for 2 years, living together for 8 months, and I'd been carrying an engagement ring in my jacket pocket for 3 weeks, waiting for the perfect moment. The text read, "Just pretending to be pregnant to get him to propose." Classic move, right? He's been so sweet lately, buying me flowers and cooking dinner. Poor guy has no idea I'm not actually pregnant, lol. Should I keep it going a bit longer or drop the bomb tonight? My blood turned to ice. I read it again, then a third time, hoping I'd misunderstood. But there it was, crystal clear. She'd sent it to me instead of whoever she meant to send it to. My hands shook as I took a screenshot. The rational part of my brain kept trying to find another explanation, but the evidence was right there in black and white. 3 weeks ago, she'd told me she was pregnant. I'd held her while she cried happy tears. I'd started planning our future, imagining cribs and college funds, and teaching a little version of us how to throw a baseball. I'd been an idiot. Without overthinking it, I sent the screenshot back to her with 4 words, classic breakup. We're done. Then I turned off my phone. The next few hours passed in a blur. I couldn't concentrate on work, so I left early and drove to our apartment. Our apartment. Not anymore. I started packing methodically, folding clothes and wrapping picture frames in newspaper. Each item felt like evidence of a lie I'd been living. When I turned my phone back on around 6, I had 47 missed calls and 32 text messages. All from her. I didn't read them or listen to the voicemails. Instead, I called my buddy from college who lived across town and asked if I could crash on his couch for a few days. She came home while I was loading the last box into my car. The sound of her key in the lock made my stomach clench, but I kept moving. She burst through the door, mascara streaked down her cheeks, still in her work clothes. She immediately started explaining that it was all a joke, that she'd been texting her sister about some ridiculous advice column they'd read together. She insisted she really was pregnant and had the missed period and morning sickness to prove it. She begged me to take a pregnancy test with her right then and there. I told her I'd heard enough lies. Even if she was pregnant, which I doubted, the fact that she could joke about manipulating me into marriage told me everything I needed to know about her character. I picked up my last box and walked past her to the door. She grabbed my arm and pleaded with me to listen. She swore on her mother's grave that she was telling the truth about being pregnant and lying about the joke. The irony wasn't lost on me that she was asking me to believe she was lying about lying. I pulled away and left. Update 1. It's been 5 days since I moved out, and the calls haven't stopped. She's enlisted her sister, her best friend, and even her mother to call me and explain that it was all a misunderstanding. According to them, she and her sister have a running joke about pregnancy announcement stories they see online, and she was supposedly making fun of women who trap men with fake pregnancies. Her sister called me this morning and swore that her sister really is pregnant and that the text was just poorly timed dark humor. She begged me to talk to her, to give her a chance to explain properly. I almost believed it. Almost. But then I remembered something. 3 weeks ago, when she first told me she was pregnant, she'd been oddly specific about her symptoms. She mentioned morning sickness, but I'd never actually seen her throw up. She talked about being tired, but she'd been staying up late binge-watching shows. She said she was craving pickles, but we'd never had pickles in our apartment. I started thinking about other things too. How she'd been dropping hints about marriage for months. How she'd shown me pictures of rings she liked. How she'd talked about her friends' engagements. How she'd mentioned wanting to be married before 30. She'd been building up to something, and the pregnancy announcement had felt like the final push. I realized I needed proof one way or another. I drove to the pharmacy and bought a pregnancy test, then went to our apartment when I knew she'd be at work. I still had my key, though I probably shouldn't have used it. I left the test on the bathroom counter with a note that said if she wanted me to believe her, she needed to take it and send me a picture of the results within the hour. She texted me 90 minutes later with a photo of a positive pregnancy test. For about 10 minutes, I felt like the biggest asshole in the world. Then I noticed something odd about the photo. The lighting was different from our bathroom, and I could see part of a tile pattern in the background that didn't match our apartment. I called my ex-roommate from college who works in digital forensics. He's always been into tech stuff, and I figured he might be able to tell me something about the photo. I sent it to him and asked if he could tell where it was taken. 20 minutes later, he called me back laughing. He'd done a reverse image search and found the exact same photo on 3 different pregnancy forum websites from over a year ago. She'd literally downloaded a stock photo of a positive pregnancy test from the internet. That's when I realized the depth of the manipulation I'd been dealing with. Update 2. I confronted her with the reverse image search results yesterday. We met at a coffee shop near her work because I didn't want to deal with the drama of going to the apartment again. When I showed her the evidence, her face went through about 5 different expressions in 10 seconds. First confusion, then recognition, then panic, then anger, and finally resignation. She didn't even try to deny it at first. She broke down and admitted that she wasn't pregnant and never had been. She said she'd been feeling pressure because all her friends were getting engaged, and she was afraid I was never going to propose. She claimed she'd planned to miscarry after we got engaged and that no one would have been hurt by it. I asked her how she could possibly think lying about pregnancy was acceptable, and she started crying again. She said she knew it was wrong, but that she loved me and was afraid of losing me. She insisted that everything else about our relationship was real and that this was just one mistake born out of desperation. The thing that got to me wasn't the tears or the apologies. It was how calculated it all seemed now that I was seeing it clearly. She'd researched pregnancy symptoms. She'd probably practiced the conversation about being scared but excited. She'd downloaded a convincing test photo as backup. This wasn't a spur-of-the-moment lie. It was a planned deception. I told her I was done and that I'd be getting my remaining stuff from the apartment that weekend. She begged me to reconsider, saying we could go to counseling and work through it. She promised she'd never lie to me again. I explained that the issue wasn't just the lie itself, but what it revealed about how she saw me and our relationship. She'd been willing to manipulate one of the most important decisions a person can make, whether to have children, to get what she wanted. If she could lie about that, what else would she lie about? Our finances? Her faithfulness? Our future plans? She didn't have an answer for that. Update 3. It's been 2 weeks since everything imploded, and I'm finally starting to process it all. I moved into a small apartment across town and have been trying to rebuild my routine. Work helps keep my mind occupied, and I've been hitting the gym more often to deal with the stress. The hardest part has been questioning everything about our relationship. Were her feelings real, or was I just a means to an end? How long had she been planning this? Were there other lies I never caught? I found out through mutual friends that she's been telling people I overreacted to a harmless joke and abandoned her when she needed me most. According to her version, she really was pregnant and lost the baby due to the stress of me leaving. It's a story designed to make me look like the villain, and unfortunately, some people are buying it. Her sister called me last week to tell me I was heartless for not supporting her through her miscarriage. I almost felt guilty until I remembered the reverse image search and the confession. It's amazing how easily some people can rewrite history when it suits them. The ring is still in my sock drawer. I haven't returned it yet because I'm not sure I'm ready to close that chapter completely. Some part of me keeps wondering if I gave up too easily, if I should have tried harder to work things out. But then I remember that text message and how casually she talked about manipulating me, and I know I made the right choice. I've been thinking a lot about trust lately and how quickly it can be destroyed. 2 years of building a relationship, and it all came down to one accidentally sent text message. If she hadn't made that mistake, I might have proposed by now. I might have married someone who was capable of orchestrating such an elaborate deception. The scary part is wondering what other lies I believed over the years, not just from her, but from other people in my life. It's made me more skeptical of everyone, which I hate. I don't want to become someone who questions every conversation and doubts every gesture, but I also can't ignore what I've learned about how easily trust can be abused. Yesterday, I finally blocked her number and all her social media accounts. I also returned the ring to the jewelry store. The salesperson asked if everything was okay, and I just told him the engagement was off. He was kind enough not to ask for details. Walking out of that store felt like the final step in moving forward. I'm not ready to date anyone yet, and I'm not sure when I will be. But I'm okay with that. I'd rather be alone and honest than in a relationship built on lies. Sometimes I wonder if she really loved me, or if she just loved the idea of being engaged. Either way, it doesn't matter anymore. What matters is that I learned something important about myself. I won't compromise my values or accept deception, even from someone I thought I wanted to spend my life with. The truth has a way of coming out eventually. In this case, it came out through a misdirected text message that she probably typed without thinking twice. But I'm grateful it happened before I made a much bigger mistake. I'm focusing on rebuilding my life now, on being the kind of person who deserves genuine love and honesty. Someday, I'll find someone who doesn't need to lie or manipulate to get what they want. Until then, I'm learning to be content with my own company and my own integrity. The whole experience taught me that sometimes the biggest favor someone can do for you is accidentally showing you who they really are.